Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Where the 99 Lead. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host, and it refers to the historic 99 steps that lead to the University of Pikeville campus and those 99 steps that lead from campus back into the world. Joined today by special guest Adam Roberts, Technology Coordinator with the Upward Bound program. Adam, welcome to Where the 99 Lead.
Thank you, nice to be here.
Good to have you here. Before we get into Upward Bound, your role there and what the program's all about, let's learn a little about Adam Roberts. Tell us where you come from and a little background before arriving at UPike.
I'm originally from Betsy Lane, Kentucky, in Floyd County. I went to Betsy Lane High School. I went to Eastern Kentucky University after graduating high school and got a Bachelor's of Science in Psychology. Since then, I've been working on my Master's of Teaching at Morehead State University and working with Upward Bound at UPike.
Very good. And working with an Upward Bound program at UPike that you have some familiarity from your time in high school as well. We'll talk more about that as the day goes. The Upward Bound program is one of the federally funded TRIO programs that focus on academic support at the University of Pikeville. Tell us about the history of the program.
Upward Bound was created as a result of the Lyndon Johnson's 1965 Higher Education Act, which was passed in order to strengthen the educational resources of colleges and universities in the United States. And as you mentioned, it is part of TRIO, one of 8 programs that are a part of the TRIO programs.
Indeed, and of course Lyndon Johnson's programs from the 60s, a focus on Appalachia and Appalachian students, many families that we're still seeing, first generation college students, upward bound, changing the academic success of those people. Talk about the goals and the missions of the Upward Bound program.
Just like you said, our main goal is to reach out to Eastern Kentucky high school students and not only help them succeed in high school with tutoring or test prep or just study skills, but also succeed after high school in college and work toward graduating college.
Each individual student gets a lot of individual attention, focusing on that academic help that they may need. It's a huge opportunity for those students to get that academic support. All students at the University of Pikeville get that, but these students seem to get a little extra individual attention, just ensuring the success of those. As a student, you were a member of Upward Bound. How did that program help you during high school?
It gave me an experience and just overall exposure that I couldn't have gained otherwise, as far as prepping me with studying, with preparing for the ACT, with preparing for exams during my high school days, to as far as college tours, different cultural activities, going to plays in New York City, for example,
Sure.
or Washington, D.C., stuff that I wouldn't have been able to experience had I not been in Upward Bound.
Yeah, and those are the type of trips that while they are learning opportunities and educational, but the cultural you mentioned, being in Washington, D.C., a city like none other, New York City like none other, and so very different than Eastern Kentucky and the mountains of Central Appalachia, opening eyes to a different part of the world and our United States. Upward Bound doing that. Talk about how many students the Upward Bound program at the University of Pikeville serves, and what are some of the services that are provided to students?
Well, Upward Bound at UPike is broke up into 2 grants. There is a Pike grant and there is a Floyd Martin grant. Pike obviously serving the high schools in Pike County, and the Floyd Martin grant serving those high schools in Floyd and Martin counties.
Sure.
Each one having the same services offered. We offer tutoring, like I mentioned. We offer ACT preparation. We offer study skills. We go to the high schools once a month to check on each one of our students, pretty much serve as an extra guidance counselor for them.
Sure.
We check on their classes, see how they're doing in their classes. If they need tutoring, we get tutoring for them. In addition to that, we have monthly seminars in which we reach on the cultural aspect of our program. We'll go see plays. We'll take our kids to various shows, all at no cost to each student
Sure.
or each participant.
Absolutely. And of course, you mentioned tutoring. Where do these tutors come from?
They come from various high schools in Eastern Kentucky that are proven by our standards, and they have received our trust to tutor.
And no cost to the students
No cost.
there as well,
Right.
which could be a huge cost should they have to hire those. ACT prep, a huge focus has been placed on ACT prep, how important it is to raise that score. There are some that maybe are taking the ACT for the first time, and that prep is so important to be able to succeed and to have that score that can make a difference in a college career with scholarships and things like that. What's the cost of that program?
No, nothing. It's all no cost to our participants.
See, and that's incredible because, that, again, a huge cost that could be involved for those students of Upward Bound. You say there's a Pike grant and there's a Martin Floyd grant. How many students from each of those areas?
Pike has approximately 70 to 80, Floyd approximately 40 to 60, roundabout.
Right. It's a lot of students.
Yeah.
You're doing monthly seminars. Where do those seminars take place?
We'll sometimes meet up on campus. We do on campus. They arrive in Chrisman Auditorium around 8 or 9. We've had past financial assistance workers come in and talk about the FAFSA.
Sure.
We've done ACT prep at some of these. We've done just communication activities just to get our participants communicating at another level. But we don't just meet on campus at these. We'll take a weekend trip, which will be one of our monthly seminars. Kids
Right.
will show up. We'll take a bus to Cincinnati for the weekend.
Sure.
When we go to Cincinnati, we'll do museums and educational, but we'll also throw in a little fun. We went to a Reds game.
Sure.
We went to the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville, just for example.
Yeah, and both of those cities, it certainly can be educational. There are several museums in Cincinnati that I think many people, okay, we've got the Reds game, we've got the Bengals game, and Kings Island, maybe the aquarium, but there are several museums in that downtown Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area, and a great place to visit, very educational. Now, you talk about being an extra guidance counselor, because we know in the high schools there are some tremendous guidance counselors out there, but they're trying to serve their entire school and may not have the time to give that extra individual attention. That's what the Upward Bound staff does, is provide that extra counseling to help a student to make sure that nothing falls through the hoops. Isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
Then there are several people that make up that Upward Bound staff. You're not the Lone Ranger here. Adam Roberts in the Upward Bound office at the University of Pikeville. Tell us about the different people that make up the program and what their roles are.
Well, like I mentioned, there are 2 grants, so each grant has the same members of that staff, with the exception of the Pike grant has an assistant director. I'll get to that. So there's a director for each grant. They're responsible for decision making, budgeting, deciding where we go, deciding what we do, hiring. As I mentioned, there's an assistant director that is only affiliated with the Pikeville grant. She is responsible for recruiting, creating a monthly newsletter which goes out to all of our participants' parents. This newsletter is just a simple, more about the program.
Sure.
It lets about upcoming events. They usually have a college spotlight mentioned in it. This is just another way for us to reach out to our kids, and this is through the avenue of their parents. Then my position as a tech coordinator There's another tech coordinator with the Floyd Martin grant. We are more affiliated with the technical side of things, checking out laptops, checking out calculators, fixing, repairing technical issues that may have come up with not only our computers or our equipment, but some of our participants' equipment. And then there is a coordinator for student development. They are like a guidance counselor, officially like a guidance counselor.
Sure.
They keep track of the kids' grades. They keep track of the if they've taken the ACT. They're the ones that schedule the tutoring if need be. So they're really kind of like the guidance counselor of the group. The directors, if need be, will attend school visits, but for the most part, that's the tech coordinators, the coordinators for student development, and the assistant directors. We go to the schools and serve our participants monthly.
Very good. And of course, a lot of different services being offered. You've mentioned grades and checking grades a couple of times. Are there requirements for these students to maintain a certain grade point average?
Yes, sir. We have a rule that if our participants receive a D or below on their report card, then we have the option of holding their stipend until that grade is brought up, until we see proof or documentation that that grade has been brought up. Monthly, our participants receive money for coming to see us. So those monthly seminars that I mentioned when we meet on campus or when we go to Cincinnati for the weekend or whatever,
Sure.
they receive a monthly stipend for participating in that activity.
Sure.
Okay, if they have a D on their report card, then we have the privilege of holding that money until they've brought it up. So it's a little incentive for them to keep their grades up.
Indeed, and I would imagine these students, they're mostly high achieving.
Yeah.
Summer is a busy time, I know, as well for Upward Bound students at the University of Pikeville. If anyone is around campus during the summer months, you'll see these students. And there's a great summer program that goes along with Upward Bound. Talk about that program. Give us an overview of that.
The summer program, or the summer aspect of our program, is really the meat of our program. It's really what you think of when you think of Upward Bound. During that time, our participants come live on campus for 5 weeks. They move in on Monday, and then they move in Monday evening, they move out on Friday afternoon. This goes on for 5 weeks.
Right.
They'll like I said, they'll move in on Monday evening. Curfew is at 10:30. Lights out at 11. We hire college successful peer mentors, which serve as kind of like a camp counselor.
Sure.
To chaperone the floors, make sure the kids are in the bed, make sure they're following the rules, and so on. So that they move in on Monday. The next morning, they are responsible for getting themselves out of bed and being down in the CityView cafeteria for breakfast. If they're not in breakfast, then we come knock on their door, make sure they're where they're supposed to be.
Sure.
After breakfast, they go to class for a couple hours. That goes up until lunch. There's lunch in the cafeteria again. Some more classes thrown in, then dinner. After dinner, we do an evening activity. Those could be anything from bowling to the movies to whitewater rafting, river rafting in Pikeville.
As much whitewater as you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go see a play, whatever there is to do.
Sure.
In the area, then we'll do that during the evening. We'll be back to campus usually around 7 or 8. They can hang out there in the plaza up on the hill at the top of the 99 for a couple hours, back to the room by 10:30, lights out 11, then next morning do it all again.
Full day.
Oh yeah.
It's a full day, class time included, some fun time included, downtime, and it's like an academic camp that happens to run 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And that has to be something that is very helpful for these students to be successful their next year in high school. Now, what age students are we talking about with these Upward Bound camp type deals, the summer program?
These are freshmen, so 14 through up through graduating seniors. So we have 18-year-olds. Those that have graduated, that have already graduated high school, they are referred to as our bridge students, bridge the gap between high school and college.
Sure.
They actually take college classes on campus, get college credit, and they can participate in what we call a work study program, which they can shadow under a various profession that they're interested in going in while getting paid for it. So we pay them in addition to what they would receive regularly. We pay them for participating in our work study program
Very
as
good.
well.
It's a full campus experience
Yeah.
for those students, Monday through Friday, 5 weeks during this summer program. And I would imagine there are students that are there, freshmen through graduated seniors. And that's a huge benefit for those students. How does the summer program help high school students transition to college?
It teaches responsibility. Like I said, our participants have to be responsible to go to bed the night before at a appropriate time to be able to get up the next morning in order to make it to breakfast. Because like I said, if they're not in the cafeteria, we have a running roster. If we don't see if we know they're on campus and we don't see their name on the roster, then obviously they're in the room, so we're banging on the room, getting them out of bed. So it teaches responsibility for them to be responsible to go to bed, be responsible to get themselves ready, be responsible to go to class. This is all on them. Their parents aren't with them while they're up on campus.
Sure.
This is all of them going to breakfast, going to class, going to lunch, what they do in their downtime.
Right.
This is all about them learning how to live on their own, really.
Live on their own, and the college experience, and they get that earlier than other students. It can be beneficial. Our guest today, Adam Roberts, Technology Coordinator with the Upward Bound program, as we talk about Upward Bound at the University of Pikeville. There's quite a role there for someone to take a role during breakfast to make sure that those kids are in place. You mentioned the number of students that are participating in the Upward Bound program, 100 to 120 students with the two different areas combined. Do you have this many in the summer program as well?
The summer program, the numbers are down a little bit, but you're still looking at 70 to 90 students easily.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a good group.
Yeah.
Talk about some of the courses. You mentioned students, they have breakfast, they have class time, lunch, class time again, and then some downtime and some activities. But talk about some of the courses that students take during the summer program.
Well, we like to stray away from the educational side when we look at our classes. They're all hands-on, interactive, discussion-based classes. We don't assign homework. We don't have quizzes or tests, or they don't receive grades or anything that will transfer over to their school during the school year. These are all classes that are going to prepare them for life, for classes in high school, but not necessarily the educational aspect of it. If they haven't met benchmark, we have ACT classes during the summer that will help them bring up their ACT score in order to meet that benchmark level.
Tell us what the benchmark level is for those that are tuned in.
The math and the reading are the two that we're focused with. The math benchmark is 20 and the reading is 19. If they haven't reached those benchmarks, then they take classes in order to bring them up.
ACT prep classes.
Yeah.
Again, a huge benefit to those students. We've talked about outdoor activities, classes that take place, unstructured classes outside the classroom, activities in the evening, and things like that there are cultural benefits to. What are some of the activities that are planned for students during the summer program?
Like I mentioned, we do bowling, we go swimming, we go see plays, go to the movies. Pretty much anything to do in this area, we're doing it.
Recreational type stuff.
Yeah. We have dances, we have game shows.
Yes.
We've had magicians come to campus and perform. We do this for 5 weeks, and then I forgot to mention this earlier. Then the 6th week, we reward our participants who have attended accordingly with a reward trip. This past summer, we went to Chicago, Illinois
Wow.
for 3 nights and 4 days. When we go to these, past destinations have included New York, Washington, D.C., Savannah, Georgia, Charleston, South Carolina, Williamsburg, Virginia, Orlando, Florida.
Nice trips.
Yeah, very nice trips. All no cost to the participants.
Educational trips, obviously, experiential learning,
Yeah.
being in a different place, seeing the different cultures that exist in our country. Some great activities. I have to ask, because one of the hottest things going on much of this summer has been Pokemon Go. Has that been included in some of the activities?
Well, that actually wasn't hot during the summer.
Okay.
The summer months. I think it might have caught viral right after
At the
summer.
tail end.
Yeah, because our participants are involved in Pokemon Go, but they wasn't this summer, so it
Very good. So the timing worked out well.
yeah.
Worked out well. When the summer program's over, obviously you stay in touch with these students. Monthly seminars, you're in the schools. Tell us how you stay in touch and how you're able to mentor those students during the school year.
Well, we go see them once a month.
Are these individual visits or are these as a group
As
at
a
a
group,
particular school?
we typically meet in the school library or school cafeteria or a career readiness classroom in the school. We meet as a group. We talk with them as a group. However, if any of them are struggling or want that private one-on-one attention, there are usually 3 to 4 of us with them. So we usually just kind of meet them outside of the group and
Sure.
talk with them about what we can do to help them bring their grades up.
If they're having trouble with grades or just struggles in general that take place for high school students, mentoring and of course ensuring that these students find success. Adam Roberts, Technology Coordinator with the Upward Bound program at the University of Pike, our guest today. We talk about Upward Bound. It's an incredible program for high school students to ensure and provide opportunities for success for these students. And it's a program that's been around since the 60s and still going strong here in Central Appalachia. If someone's tuned in today, Adam, and they're interested in this program, I guess before we even go to this question, if someone's tuned in today and they have a student who's preparing for high school and they think this student might qualify, how are those students qualified? How are they located? Is there someone out there that's looking for the students that meet these guidelines?
Well, we set aside time during the first of the school year, so around the end of August, September, October, in which we recruit at all the high schools that we serve. So during these recruitments, we will go to the school. It won't be a monthly visit with our regular participants. It'll be a time that we've already planned with the school's guidance counselor usually to meet with all the freshmen, all the sophomores, to recruit what we have to offer.
Sure.
In order to get more participants into our program. During these recruitments, we show a video of our program and the highlights of our program. We have applications available for anyone that's interested. We typically run out of applications, as you might imagine.
Sure.
In that case, we let all the students know that are listening that they can access applications online. You can find UPike Upward Bound. You can just type it into Google, UPike Upward Bound, and find our site and find an application online.
Very good. And of course, students can apply, but there's not an unlimited number of students that are accepted, are there? Because
No.
I know there has to be a limitation, or I can see a much larger number of students that would like to be a part of this program, but there is a limit. How is that limit determined? How is that number determined?
It's really just a first come, first served basis. we have students that roll off every year. So our one-year graduates will roll off of our roster, so we're not serving them anymore at the time. So that many spots will be available for new applicants. So it's really just a first come, first serve. If we receive a applicant, potential participant who meets all of our qualifications, then we'll set that name aside, and we won't contact them necessarily right away, but we'll set that name aside and
Sure.
maybe mark a spot off.
And you mentioned you can find the information on the internet. You can go there, apply online. Is that where they could also see the qualifications involved with the program? Because there are qualifications that a student must meet to be a part of the Upward Bound program. It's a huge benefit to this program, and it certainly is providing opportunities for those students. Adam, if someone's tuned into today's program and they're interested in this program, learning more about it, perhaps they're a parent or a grandparent, a guardian of a student who's not Upward Bound age yet, but closing in, perhaps a middle school student that could possibly qualify for this program, and it's something they would like to ensure that success during their high school career. How can they get in touch with you in the Upward Bound office?
We are available via Facebook. We have a Facebook page in which they can check out all of our activities, all that's going on with Upward Bound. If they message that page, that would be the easiest contact. The school counselor, the guidance counselor at all our schools has all of our contacts that we serve, so they can go to them and just say, hey, my child could potentially be interested in Upward Bound. How could I get a hold of them?
Sure.
And they would be able to provide them with that, our email address, our phone number, all of our contacts.
A great place would be go to your high school guidance counselor. Go online, simply search UPike Upward Bound. The information's out there, as so much information is these days. You know about that. The technology coordinator with Upward Bound, Adam Roberts, our guest on today's show. Adam, great to have you with us, and we want to wish you great success in the upcoming academic year that's getting set to get underway. We know you'll be in the schools very soon.
Thank you.
Adam Roberts, Technology Coordinator at the University of Pikeville with the Upward Bound program, our guest on this edition of Where the 99 Leads. We'll have another edition coming up next week. Be sure and tune in then to Where the 99 Lead, a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville, the leading university of Central Appalachia.